Hello and welcome back. I have got a great review today for you. We're actually going to be reviewing SeaQuest. It's actually the Blu Ray Remastered series. We're going to be going through the entire collection here. Now, this one's actually going to be about both releases. I actually got both the ones from Germany and the ones from Australia. A lot of you might ask, why did I do both? Originally, these were all that was released was the ones from Germany. They never finished the Via Vision releases from Australia. They released season 1, but that was it. So this review is going to be an exciting kind of going through, giving you an idea of what the difference between them is, the quality is, and kind of give you an idea so you know what set you're going to want to buy and what you're going to want to have. But SeaQuest, just to give you a little backstory of the story so you kind of get what it is. It ran between 1993 and 1996. It was a sci-fi series about a submarine set kind of in the future for back then because it was 1993 when it first aired. And it was actually set in the year 2018 was the first season when it was supposedly set. So it was supposed to be futuristic as that's what they thought it was going to be like at that point. Not to offend anybody that loves the show, but in my opinion, it was basically trying to be a more down-to-earth next generation. Rockne S. O'Banion is actually the gentleman that basically had the idea of the show and had created it. And then Steven Spielberg, which I've always enjoyed Steven Spielberg's stuff, he actually was an executive producer on the first 2 seasons. The 3rd season, his name dropped off of it and he was not the executive producer. And in the 3rd season, basically the main captain, Nathan Bridger, who's played by Roy Scheider. I might have said his name wrong. But point being is the gentleman that plays the captain in the first 2 seasons only appears briefly in season 3. And season 3 was cut short. I think it only had 13 episodes, if I remember correctly. So the first 2 seasons, it was like 21 episodes, 22, season 1, season 2, and then the 3rd season only had 13 episodes. It was cut short, but that mostly was due to, at the time, they kept not airing episodes due to sports or other things back in the 90s that they would put in place of it, and then they'd skip a couple of weeks. So people kind of fell out of like the ongoing story and kind of lost track of it. And I think that's kind of what eventually killed the series in the end. So it was a little disappointing that they didn't get to go where the series had originally wanted to. They said there was a lot of like infighting between the cast members and things like that, script and things like that. So that's kind of what I think doomed the series in the end. The series itself, I am, as you're well aware, I'm a big fan of old TV and old TV shows and anything like that. I did like SeaQuest when I was growing up. I watched it with my family growing up, as probably a lot of you did. And I thought it was pretty decent. I liked a lot of the things and elements in it. Season 1 has some slower episodes and then it has some better episodes, but that's kind of normal for any TV show. It takes a little while to get its footing. And then I felt like season 2, it did a great job. Season 2 really took off. And then because of the issues they had by season 3, it kind of started to fall apart again. So overall, though, between all 3 seasons, if you have all 3 seasons, it's a nice collection to have. It's nice to have them all together. I'm a big completionist. I like to have the whole series, even if maybe the beginning or maybe the end wasn't what I had hoped for and would have wanted them to do with the series. Overall, I was very pleased with it. So, talking about this release, kind of going back into Steven Spielberg and all of that, they added in a lot of things that he had requested as well about them talking about at the end of each episode in the first season. A lot of it they talk about here's how things are affected in our world with the oceans and pollution, things like that, which was a nice little touch at the end of each episode originally. So they did a good job with it. As far as the Blu-rays here, we'll talk about the Germany release here for a second. So originally, they only ever released SeaQuest DSV Season 1 on Blu-ray, and this was released by Madman and Via Vision Entertainment, which is an Australian company. They released this, and it was for sale for a small amount of time in the US. Best Buy even had it, Target had it, things like that. And then it ended up falling off. They never ended up doing any more of it. They released this season, and that was probably about 6 years ago they released this. And they never really came back and did it anymore. They released it, I don't know if it didn't sell enough at the time, so that was it. Then there was a company that came out in Germany, Koch Media. They released seasons 2 and season 3. And these are German specific releases. You can get them through Amazon.de. the thing about these is these are region locked. These two from Germany, if you don't have a region-free Blu-ray player, you couldn't watch them. So these only worked on if you had one of those unlocked region-free Blu-ray players. So I bought them because I had one at the time, because this was the only way to get it. And so these qualities of these were pretty decent. I didn't notice too much difference between season 1 and then these that came out. They were decent. They'd upgraded them to 1080p, DTS, HD surround sound. So they did a good job with them. But the problem with them was there was still issues because it was a German release, and again, it was only this set, season 2 and season 3, were only released region B. So everyone else outside the country that either didn't have a region-free Blu-ray player or didn't have a way to play them, they were left out. They could only get season 1. And that's a shame for a show to not be able to get a complete series. So I'm going to come back to these a little bit later on. Along the way here, through this review, up here on the right hand and up here on the left hand side, I'm going to give you guys screenshots of the seasons as I'm talking about them, clips of what the cases look like and things like that. I know sometimes I kind of go a little bit fast when I'm holding them up in front of the camera. So I always post screenshots as we're going along. So that way you can kind of see as I'm talking, there's going to be things showing the quality of it, showing the cases as I'm talking about them and going through them. So we're going to go through the rest of this set. Now, here's what's exciting about this. They came back after season 1, and years later, this was actually within the last year, they released, finally, via Vision, came back, remastered the rest of it and finished it, released season 2 and season 3. And so that was a great thing that they actually finally came back and released these. So these here are actually region free. So these can play anywhere. They have no region lock codes on them. Now on the back, it does say they're region B. That is incorrect. These are universal region free discs. That means if you live in the UK, you can buy them. That means if you live in Asia, you can buy them. That means if you live in the US, you can buy them and you can play them, no issues whatsoever. So season 1, season 2, and season 3, and they also have a complete series set which combines all three. It's the same content, but instead of 3 separate cases, it's in one case. They do have that available as well. Same company released it via Vision in Australia. You can get it on Amazon in almost America, Amazon UK, Amazon.de. You just need to look for the Via Vision Complete Series Blu-ray set, or like I said, you can go on. They have them on eBay. They have them everywhere now. This set is released just about everywhere now. So the Germany set is fine if you live in Germany and you want to buy that because it's cheaper at the moment. You can buy the rest of the seasons through the Germany set if you live in Germany. For the rest of the world, basically whether you live in England or whether you live in the US or Australia or Asia, it doesn't matter. These sets are all English sets. So they do have, obviously, Dolby Digital surround sound on them, but no, there is no subtitles. So in answer to your question about is there subtitles for this release, there isn't subtitles for this release. So this is simply the Blu-ray remastered set, but there isn't subtitles on it. But as far as the set goes, it is in 1080p, remastered Blu-ray. I'll show you here each case here. So season 1, which has been out for a long time, which is why I didn't buy the complete series set, is because I already had season 1. So season 1, basically it's pretty basic. You open it up, you got your discs in here, and then you got your little leaflet here that flips over, has your 4 discs in it. Behind that, there's some pictures of some other releases Via Vision does, but that's it. There's no booklet in or anything like that, but that's okay. The case was nicely done. It's nicely put together. It's simple, and I'm okay with that. What I care about is the content of the show, and the content of the show is all presented here. It does have special features of deleted scenes on season 1 Blu-ray. So that's season 1. Season 2, we get to this. This one's your 5 disc because this one was slightly longer than season 1 was. So this is 5 disc Blu-ray set. This one actually does have in it basically the feature length 2-part episodic version of the 2nd season opener, Daggers. So it's kind of nice that they did the feature length included in this. So if you want to watch the basically season opener, which was at the time a mini movie basically, they do have it compiled together as an actual feature length film. So that's a special feature. It's on here, which is nice. They did include that. When you open it up, it's going to be very similar. The discs don't have pictures on them this time, whereas season 1 did. And I think they did that mostly to save a little bit money on the cost. So that way the set was a little bit less expensive for everybody. it's okay. It doesn't matter if it has a picture on the disc. It still says what the disc is, what season it is. Again, leaflets inside, and then your discs inside here. So everything in this one worked out really well. And then season 3, this one's very short. It does show Roy Scheider on the front, but Michael Ironside, which is I think is this gentleman's name, is actually who overtook the role in season 3 from Roy Scheider, which I liked Roy Scheider better, but it is what it is. That's what happened with the show. That's the history of it. Can't change it now. This one does jump to the future a little bit farther. If you notice, it does say 2032. SeaQuest in the 3rd season, to kind of make up for some things, jumped even farther into the future. So that makes it a little unique too, adds a little bit of an extra spin to it. This one here is a little bit shorter though. This one you're looking at 3 discs. And inside your discs are same as what you had in season 2. Black with your names of the discs on them, but there's only 3 because remember, there's only 13 episodes if I remember correctly, and I think it says on the back. It is. 13 episodes on 3 Blu Ray discs, remastered, and it does look great. The only thing you're going to notice on this show when you're watching it, and I'll kind of put some pictures as we're going along like I was talking about, the special effects didn't get remastered like the Next Generation set did. Star Trek The Next Generation set, they actually remastered all the special effects, so that way it was something as you were going along, there was updated visuals, updated visual effects, things like that. They did not do that with this set. Basically, it's the original special effects, just upgraded the visual quality of all the films, took out some of the dirt, the negatives, fixed those a little bit and made it crisp up to 1080p. But the actual visual effects are still very much the old stuff. And that's okay. When you're watching it, it does look good anyways, and they did a decent job with the special effects. That, yes, it looks slightly dated, but that's the time frame we're in here. I mean, we're talking about a show here that was on 1993 to 1996. So we are talking about a show that's a little bit old. Not as old as some of the ones I've done, reviews I've done for some of these sets, but for special effects wise, that was back at the beginning of kind of what I call when they started really getting into heavy computer more effects on shows and things like that. So the show actually, Rockne S. O'Banion is actually the gentleman who created the show. And if you know anything about sci-fi and things like that, he actually is the gentleman that he worked on and did Farscape, which I love Farscape. Farscape is a great show as well. I love it. It was a really entertaining and sci-fi show. Another show that got killed before its time that I wish it would have had a bit longer to go on, but that was a great show. But anyhow, so that gentleman created this show. It's got a very similar feel to it as Star Trek The Next Generation, kind of where it's a captain and his crew and episodic adventures and things like that. But that's not a bad thing because, I mean, mirroring a show that was a great doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It just means that, hey, you're giving credit back to where credit's due. So the show does go on episodic adventures about the crew, different things happen along the way as you're going along. The dolphin and the technology in it and things like that. They did a good job at the time. I thought it was great growing up, watching that, thinking, man, just like Star Trek, man, that technology is so cool. I can't wait for that to happen. But the show itself is just an entertaining sci-fi show that does a great job with the characters. And some of the characters get changed out in season 2 and then again in season 3. And the same actors don't come back. So that was a little stinky. It wasn't as fluid as Next Generation was. But the Blu-rays themselves, as far as these sets go, I definitely recommend them. They actually did a good job with the remaster on them, especially for a show that I thought kind of was a niche show that I didn't think we'd ever really see it released on Blu-ray. And for the longest time, all that was released was the Germany set for the final 2 seasons. And I always thought that was a little disappointing because the rest of the world was kind of left out unless you had a region-free Blu-ray player. And these were done decent as well. I did like these. Flip side of it, the reason I bought, and you say, well, why did I buy the other 2 if I already had them? Mostly because of the fact that I did like that once these were released, I wanted to support them and make sure that they continued releasing other sets like this. So that way, these are region free, they can be bought anywhere. So anyone in the world can play them, whereas the ones from Germany, you're limited by, basically you had to have a region-free Blu-ray player, and that was fine for some people, but a lot of people, they don't know about that or didn't know, so that's why I went supported and bought these. I personally watched these right now. These are what I've been watching again. I have not gone back to the Germany one since I bought these. I've been watching these. I would recommend the Via Vision set over the Germany Koch Media set, simply because, one, it is region-free. And that's a big thing, so you don't have to have any special Blu-ray player, you don't have to have any special software. You can put these in, they play in anybody's Blu-ray players. So that was why I would suggest and recommend getting the complete series set by ViaVision, or get the individual releases, season 1, 2, and 3. Quality of the discs and things like that, as we're going along, I've been showing you here some of the screenshots of it. It does look pretty good. I definitely would recommend it. As far as the quality of the discs, the quality of the remaster, I'm going to give it about an 8.8. And here's why. I did like it, don't get me wrong. I didn't like how many years it took them to release the final 2 seasons as opposed to the first season. I didn't like how there was such a long gap, especially those of us that if you didn't know about the German release, you had season 1 and that was it. You never got anything else. And then it took them, well, 6-7 years before they ever released anything else. And that's a long time in between seasons. As far as this 8.8 is simply because of the fact that I thought they could have added a little bit more special features to it. There wasn't a whole ton of special features in it, like I said. That was about it. So it's a very simple set. There wasn't much in them as far as special features. And then no subtitles on it either. I would have liked to have seen for a lot of folks to have subtitles on there, because there are some folks that hearing impaired, things like that would have needed subtitles. And so that's why I said I'm going to give it an 8.8 for a set. They could have added a little bit more time and work into it, but I'm thankful they at least released it. It is region free, and that's a great thing right there. And any of you that loved sci-fi and loved SeaQuest, you're going to be happy to own all 3 seasons of it. Like I said, it's definitely, if you see it out there and you don't own it yet, I would suggest you go out and buy it. Because supporting companies like this that release sets like this, that's how we get more of these. If you don't go out and spend your money to support the company to buy more of them, they're going to stop releasing them altogether, and then we're not going to have any of this stuff getting released that's remastered that we can own on physical copy. So that's why, if I can suggest that, go out and support these companies as you find these sets that you want, save up, get a set here and there, and try to support them physically. Because if we don't buy the sets as they come out, and we only watch them digitally or try to download it online, they're going to stop releasing and stop making physical copies eventually. And then what's going to happen is it's going to end up those of us that have a few copies of them, that's going to be it. And I don't really want to see that happen, because as time goes on, more and more digital we don't really own, as people are finding out. They can downgrade the quality of it when you're watching it. Just like what's happened on Netflix right now, is where they've downgraded the quality to where people aren't even watching just slightly above SD content. It's not even full HD anymore, because of the amount of people that are on watching it right now. They've had to downgrade the quality across the world. And that's where I like having and owning it. So that way I'm not subject to the download speed, or if my internet's running a certain speed, or basically if, like I said, they downgrade the quality of the streaming, you're stuck with what they're going to give you. So this, you own this, it's all yours, 1080p, region free, play it anywhere in the world. You've got a set and you'd own it all yourself, the complete series. I did want to talk to you guys about what I've got coming up. Now, I haven't done this in the past, but I think I'm going to start doing this going forward. I'm going to give you a clue of what I'm working on next, so that way you can kind of be excited of what's coming up. I've been very excited about this one, but it took a long time for me to get this. I think I ordered it 2 months ago. It took 2 months to be shipped to me, and I think it's because of everything that's going on around the world that things are taking longer, and that's okay. It's the way things are, and I'm thankful that it at least arrived and things like that. But next review I'm going to be working on, to give you guys a heads up, is Murder, She Wrote. Now, this set I'm very excited about, and this is the next set I'm going to be doing a review on. This is the entire first six seasons that I'm going to be doing a review on. So, just to give you an example of what's coming up, so you can be excited for the next video that's coming up and look forward to it. Now, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and make sure you share this video. That way I can keep bringing you more great content. Also, don't forget to go to the website and buy yourself a shirt. That supports the channel. I use that money, it just goes right back into the next set that I'm going to get, so that way I can do another review and keep this channel growing and keep bringing you more great content. Down below in the description, I'll put the link to the website, and then also I'll put it here on the video so you can see that as well. Click on the link, you can go in there. Anything that you buy on there, shirts is what I have on there right now. They're exactly what I'm wearing. Anything you buy on there just goes right back into the channel to support the channel, and I do appreciate any support that you guys have been giving. It's been great. I love doing this. I look forward to doing this some more. Be excited about the next one I got coming. Next one is going to be the first 6 season set remastered of Murder, She Wrote. So drop a like, make sure you subscribe. If you want, get a shirt that supports the channel, it's greatly appreciated. I will talk to you guys next time. I hope all of you have a blessed and wonderful day, and I look forward to the next time we get together here to talk more about another great review. Stay tuned, I'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.